Welcome back to this series of videos based on the Extreme Fabric Installation and Configuration Guide, the on-demand lab guide. So we're going to look at lab 3 now, which is titled Fabric Management. As you can see on the topology in GNS3, I've put in the cross diagonal links between the fabric switches, and all of the 4 fabric switches are up and running. And we have ISIS adjacencies established between on all of these links. So the topology in the guide looks very much similar, and what the objectives of this lab are to test layer 2 CFM functionality using layer 2 ping and layer 2 traceroute, validate the in-band management VLAN and its ISID, configure IP shortcuts for management, and create a route map for redistribution policy. So moving on to section A, where we're going to look at connectivity fault management, CFM, and we're going to set up the maintenance domain to be SPBM, and the maintenance associations will be 4051 and 4052. This will be using level 4 for CFM SPBM. The CFM maintenance endpoint ID is an optional value. When using it, the MEP ID must be assigned while CFM is disabled. So I'm going to bring up the console menus again and drag this across to the right hand side, and we're going to be logging to FEB, it says. So let's go on to B. Press return to get the login prompt. RWA, enable, and do the show CFM SPBM command. So we see that level 4 is set and it's administratively enabled with a MEP ID of 1, and a MAC address is shown in this output. Show CFM maintenance endpoint. So we have the output of that command showing the maintenance endpoint services and the maintenance endpoint config. It wants us to do show ISIS SPBM nickname, and the show ISIS SPBM unicast tree for 4051, one of the backbone VLANs. And the show ISIS SPBM unicast fib VLAN 4051. And we're going to use layer 2 ping to verify connectivity using the system ID, the backbone MAC address of A, C and D. And be aware that a switch cannot ping its own address. So the command would be layer 2 space ping VLAN 4051 MAC 0200.100A.000. Return. Please wait for the layer 2 ping to complete. So we can see here that we had 0 packet loss, which meant that the layer 2 ping was successful. And try the command again, but using a host name, layer 2 ping VLAN 4051 router node name FEC error lookup failure for router node name or system ID MAC. So what was wrong with that? Router node name. I don't see it in the output above. So I've got A, B and D. Where's my C? It should be up. Can I do the same but to D? Let's see if I can get to D. I can get to D from B, and I can get to, let's see if we can get to A, and get to A, but I can't get to C. Okay, let's go on to C just to make sure this is okay, because I might have some memory problems with GNS3 running all of them at once, so that could be an issue. So just see what the adjacencies look like. So I've got all the adjacencies up. Now this is one of the switches which wasn't manually configured, but D was not manually configured, and that responded. I'll come back to that, but move on to the next step, which is to do a trace route. So going back onto B, so we'll do layer 2 trace route VLAN 4051 MAC 0200.100C dot 4 zeros. So just wait for that to complete. No, okay, so no layer 2 trace response received. So is this having a problem with C? Let's replace the C in the command here with D. No layer 2 trace route response received. Just scrolling back up to see some of the output here. So we don't have a D, we don't have a C in this output here, do we? So that's not going to work. So I'd have to use this MAC address, I think. Yes, so I think if I copy this, and update the command here, paste that in, turn, then our trace route works. So we have to make sure we're using the right BMAC for the switch, which is why we've got this table, I think. So we don't see C for some reason at the moment, but I'm able to do a trace route across the fabric showing the path that the trace route took to get to D, and it went directly from B to D. So yeah, okay, so virtual switches have a limitation, and they do not display the entire path for the trace route. Okay, we'll put that down to the GNS3. Moving on to configure ISID for management. Now you will test the management VLAN and the ISID on each of the switches to extend the layer 2 network, which is the 10.1.1.0.24, between the switches. The in-band management VLAN network is independent from the global routing table. So starting with A, let's go on to A, log in. Let's remind ourselves of the VLAN members. We've got 101, but there's no port members. Show management interface. That's set for 101. Wants us to, well, check the VLAN ISID bindings. So we don't have an ISID for 101, so we're going to create, as per the guide, an ISID for VLAN 101, which will be 100.101. But I'm going to be in conf terminal to do that, and the command works. So now when I do show VLAN ISID, I can see the ISID is there bound to the VLAN 101. Right, carry on. Since FED has the onboarding configuration, the management VLAN is currently 4048. So use these commands to make the necessary changes to make 101 the in-band management VLAN. So I'm going to go into D and log in, enable, and we'll go conf t. We'll do show VLAN member, and we'll show management interface. It is indeed 4048. Show management IP, no IP address. So we're in conf t, so I'm going to do no management VLAN return. I'm going to create VLAN create 101 name in band MGMT type port 0. Set the management VLAN to be 101. Set a MAC offset of 511. Assign IP address 10.1.1.4/24. Enable exit VLAN ISID 101 100.101. Okay, now the switches should now be able to ping each other, and we're going to test that with ping 10.1.1.1, and we have to specify the parameter MGMT and VLAN return, and we've got 0 packet loss, and we got a response. So all good. Let's just look at show IP interface. So we've got no IP interfaces, but we have got a management interface, which is not the same as having a VLAN IP interface. Show management IP. So we've got the switch has got a management interface or address that we can reach. So essentially this is a layer 2 switch at the moment, with just an IP address on a VLAN that allows it to be managed. The segmented VLAN management network on the switch is not connected to the global routing table. Only devices in the subnet 10.1.1.0.24 VLAN 100's in-band management can communicate with each other. So for each switch, add the PC to the management VLAN and add port 15 to VLAN 101. So what it's asking, let's start with A and make sure that VLAN member add 101 is added to 15. Int gig 15 no shut exit. Just remember I shut the ports down before in a previous lab. So we're configuring the PCs with management VLAN using the following addresses. So I need to click on the PCs and start them up. So I'm just going to drag this across to the left, start up our PCs. Start. These two are struggling to start. Let's try that again. Start. There we go. Start. So that's all 4 PCs started. So let's go to the console of PC A. And we'll bring up B in the B's console, bring up C's console, and we'll bring up D's console. These should take very little memory. So PCA, do we have an IP address on here? Show IP? No, we don't. I'm going to look at the table in the guide. So switch A's PC needs an address of 51. So I'm going to do IP 10.1.1.51/24. Go to B. I'm going to do IP 10.1.1.61/24. Go to C, IP 10.1.1.71/24. And finally on D, I'm going to put IP 10.1.1.81/24. Right, so I just need to go to B, C and D and do this command here on the VLAN. So I'm going to B conf T VLAN member add 101 to 15 int gig 15 no shut exit C conf T VLAN member add 101 to 15 no VLAN ID probably, so VLAN basic. Yep, we don't have 101, so just scroll back up. I need to create this VLAN here. VLAN create 101 name in band MGMT type port 0. So did I make this the management VLAN? Show management interface. No, it's still 4048, so I have to do no MGMT VLAN. Set the management VLAN to 101. MAC offset 511. IP address will be 10.1.1.5. So this is D. I'm on C, sorry. So that will be 3/24. And enable, exit, and do the VLAN ISID to be 101, 100, 101. So what command failed before? Invalid VLAN. So I've got to add the VLAN member, add. Now we've created it, we can add VLAN 101 to 15. Moving on to the next, which is D. Let's just check the management interface. That is 101, and the VLAN, show VLAN members. We have 101, but we need to move 15 from 20 to 101. So VLAN members, add 101 to 15, show VLAN members. So 15 is now in 101, not 20. So on one of the PCs, so click on the PC icon, start the okay, so that's assigning the IPs to the PCs. And so if we go on to D, which we're on PCD, sorry, can we ping .4, which is itself, allow time for the address to be learned. Let's just ping something else. Oh, this is the switch IP address. Can we ping the switch IP address? 1.1.4. We can ping the management address of switch D from PCD. So all devices should be able to ping each IP address in the context of the network 10.1.1.0.24. So let's look at the table and see what else we can ping. Let's ping 10.1.1.51, which is PCA. So I can ping across to PCA from PCD. Can I ping the PC on B, which is 61? Not reachable. So let's look at B, check the VLAN, show VLAN members. So port 15 is in 101. Okay, show VLAN ISID. 101 doesn't have an ISID, so that's why we can't ping. Let's correct that with VLAN ISID 101, put in the 100 101 ISID, show VLAN ISID is there, and go back to PCD, try the ping again, and we can ping it across the fabric. So let's try finally to ping C, 10.1.1.61, which we can ping also. So we can ping all 4 PCs in the management VLAN 101 from PCD. So that ends the lab for this video. Thanks for watching.